Yeah, apparently if you have the patience level of a sloth and spend enough time in this one house in Outset Island, you're gonna see Zill pop his snot bubble, which is hilarious. Anyway, so we're back again with, yet again, another episode of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. In the last episode, me and Megawii Master 1 went through the Savage Labyrinth and obtained our final step towards Hyrule Castle. In this episode, I'm gonna do like a last few, dialogue things that you can probably miss if you don't pay that much attention in the game itself, so let's just go ahead and check up on everybody else on Outset Island. I have never done this before and collected everything, so just wanted to check up on some last few people before we even do so I'm glad you're safe, LSP. We've all been so worried. The boys will be so surprised to hear that you've returned just as soon as they wake up, that is. Yeah, I bet, because Zill is over there just popping his snot bubble over and over again, and it's just the way it is. And this pig watcher man, I always forget his name. I really wish that it would do like a Skyward Sword bit where it just kind of provides everybody's name above the text box, but oh well, SP, you made it back. Nasty things have been happening here at night ever since you left on that boat. You better head home early today and don't come out to play until long after the sun has risen tomorrow. Yeah, I have way more important things to do, man. I'm sorry to say, but Link has a job to do and duty calls, so that's about it on Outset Island. But, a couple things on Windfall Island that I wanted to point out before we actually leave for the final fights here is something else regarding Joy Pendants, so I'll be right back. Okay, so notice the drastic change in my count of Joy Pendants. So if you're really desperate enough to see what actually happens if you give Miss Marie at Windfall Island a ton of Joy Pendants, up to 100 that is, she will say something pretty funny, actually, given that she's a teacher, but if you want to go ahead and give her the remaining 57 that we have, I'm pretty sure it's going to be less that she's going to take, but oh my, oh my, oh my, have you brought me Joy Pendants again? Oh, thank you, you sweet little dear, thank you. My goodness, when I put together these with the others you've given me, I now have a total of 99. Why I'm so joyful, it's frightening. If only it could have moved to 100, right? Wrong. And you, my little darling dear, you are the champion of making people joyful. Please take this, you noble champion. And she pays us. But that's actually not what I'm here for. The thing is, she says something pretty remarkable. It's not much, but even if you need... Even you need some pocket change, right, dear? So let's just keep this between us. But if you talk to her again and try to give her some more Joy Pendants, some funny dialogue is going to happen. Oh, if it's Joy Pendants, I suppose I'll take them this time. But I think double-digit amounts of joy are enough for me. To be honest, I can only actually count to 99 anyway. Before you advance this text, you're going to be like, oh, she's a freaking teacher and she can't even count like one extra number to 100. But she says, but that's fine. I'm not a math teacher. Hey, don't look at me like that. Okay. You can't even count an extra number to 100. That's cool, man. That's cool, but anyway, we're out of here. Just if you wanted to, like, see what she would say if you give her the maximum amount of Joy Pendants. But one final thing that I'm going to point out here on Windfall Island is this. Let me progress to the daytime. Okay, so nothing at all happened to Zunari's collection of shop items. That's pretty great. I even was nice enough to put some pinwheels instead of just standard town flowers here instead. But if you go back into the coffee shop, we will realize something pretty nifty as well. That's like the one word that I use to describe situations that happen here in Wind Waker, that is. But we will notice that Anton and Linda are no longer here. Where could they possibly be? They are right out here. So the one reward that you get for preventing Anton from constantly walking up and down the island staring at Linda is him just standing here idle next to her in front of this tree in front of the killer bees. So he will say, I'm so happy, and you, Linda, you're so swell. Isn't our son swell as well? Anyway, thanks to you, Anton and I have grown so close to one another. Thank you so much. Yep, he is idle here, and he will not be circling around the island to look at her anymore, so that is about it. And, yeah, with all that, this is the last time that we will ever be coming back to Windfall Island. With that, let's make our way gracefully to Hyrule Castle. So, it was worth it. And I did change it back to nighttime because it makes a lot more sense to approach this cutscene during the evening time where there is no other music interrupting us in the background, even though I love the great sea music. But with all that said and done, all of our errands compromised and everything completed, I never thought that I would make it to this point, but here we go. Well done, LSP. You must show the Triforce piece you have assembled to the gods. Oh, what is this? There on your hand, the Triforce piece now dwells within you. It is the Triforce of Courage, proof that you are indeed the true hero. You have controlled the wind and crossed the seas, and here, near the end of your quest, the power of the gods has been bestowed upon you. Surely from this moment on, you shall be known as the Hero of Winds. LSP, Hero of Winds. Go forth, to Hyrule, to Zelda's side. That genius ascension down from the top of the surface is just brilliant. With all that, we can pretty much see that the outside of Hyrule Castle is pretty much normality, except when we go inside, which is pretty devastating. We will see that our infamous statue has been snapped in half, unfortunately. The paintings, however, are the one things that have not changed, even though these are like the most symbolic things in Hyrule Castle, that is. Yeah. I did point out that this specific painting right here, from episode 10 or 11, whichever episode that I got the Master Sword in, is this one, where Tetra, just being Zelda with a group of pirates that pretty much look just like these guys in the picture, makes a lot of sense. So, just wanted to point that out as well. So, we even notice that the vault here is open, where we obtained the Master Sword when it was supposed to be closed, where Zelda's supposed to be protected, that is. So, let's go ahead and see what she's up to. You have deceived yourself. Did you think you'd be safe inside the castle? Foolish. Now that my power has been restored, there is no safe haven for you. I have taken your precious Zelda, and here you shall fall into eternal slumber. These guys are no joke. These are the Mighty Darknuts that I was talking about, but here's actually where I'm not going to get a photo of them as a figurine, because these guys do reoccur at some point, so I'm going to save that for last. Anyway, let's go ahead and fight them off. There we go. Not even messing around today. But this will allow us out. And for some glimmers of hope, I'm actually going to collect the joy pendants from these guys because it matters to me, that is. Anyway, the thing about these paintings, that is, I know that I'm saying that a lot, but these are actually references to, in my opinion, which is going to be Ocarina of Time. We will see that if we hop down here, it does make a lot of sense. I think Saria makes an appearance here, as well as Rauru and Ruto from Ocarina of Time, the Sage of the Water Temple. It is. It's really, really symbolic to acknowledge the things that reappear in the Wind Waker here. So, they make really significant reappearances. So I just wanted to point that out. Anyway, ascending back to the top of these, I really didn't get a chance to point this out in the cutscene with the Master Sword and turning Tetra into Zelda, pretty much, because it just permits me to go outside of the dungeon, or not dungeon, but the castle, that is. But I really didn't get a chance to talk about it until now, so heading out and proceeding. So, we'll notice that I brought up in the episode where I got the Master Sword that this entire wall is enclosing the castle. So, if you do not have the upgraded Master Sword, which I do here right now, you will not be able to bypass this. If you're good enough at glitches and stuff, which I honestly have not been able to do myself, you just might be able to bypass this. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do now is get my Picto Box ready, because there are some figurines that I'm going to talk about here as well. The last 3 that I need. So, let's go ahead and break down the barrier once and for all. There is nothing, in my opinion, that is just more satisfying than that damage barrier just shattering into glass and just making a way for us. That is just freaking awesome. Anyway, I don't really have any opinions on this area leading up to the castle, but it does give us some reminiscing back to the enemies that we fought in the past, such as the Chus and the Peahats and the Moblins. So it's like a combination of all the triumphs and hardships that we've had to deal with in the past. There should be one more Moblin up here, I think. Yep, he's just kind of straying away. How's it going, my dude? Anyway, getting him out of here. And the one figurine that I wanted to talk about specifically is this Dark Nut right over here without a shield. I got the one with a shield back on Ice Ring Island, but I wanted to pick this one up just for consistency's sake. I really didn't want to fight him, but I guess I will anyway, since I have the fully restored Master Sword, that is. Let's go ahead and get him on out, and I'm going to go ahead and use my leaf here just to make my way all the way across. And there are going to be some keys that are swarming my head right above me, but I don't really want to pay much attention to them because they're not that important. I just wanted to get that one figurine behind me. So, yeah. In here is where we're going to do a brunt of the work. It's going to be some retrial. And if you want to cut open these skulls and find out what's in them, it's really going to be nothing at all. That is until you go into this door, which is quite ominous looking. This beast on the door really resembles some form of Ganondorf, so I'll say that. This is Ganon's tower, and yeah, 4 bridges represent 4 major dungeons that we've done previously. So, about this made my jaw drop as a kid. You get to re-experience the 4 major dungeons, which is Dragon Roost, Cavern, Forbidden Woods, the Earth Temple, and the Wind Temple. These are 4 mini dungeons that are testing your courage for the future. So, it's going to be freaking awesome. What I am going to do here as well is equip my Hero's Charm, which permits us to see the health levels of the enemies that we're going to be fighting, including the refights of the bosses, like I mentioned, that you can refight in Hyrule Castle if you happen to miss their figurines in the overworld. So, yeah, and with this, there's going to be some bubbles in this specific room, right up in this vicinity, so let's go ahead and pop these on out of the way, right there, and right there. That's about it. Getting our grappling hook on out, and as well as our Deku Leaf, in case we miss a drop in the lava, we can just drop right here. I really doubt that I'm going to need the Deku Leaf anyway, but I just want it to be safe and have the extra insurance just to really make sure that I don't mess it up, which is right. Yep, yeah, we're good. We're good. We're doing fine. Anyway, Ganon's tower, though, really is not a problem as long as you're just used to being around things that exist around you. So, yeah. Zelda is just different at this point. Hey Bubbles, how's it going? And seeing the health levels of enemies that we've been fighting in the past just doesn't really help that much. It helps a lot in the bosses like this. So, yeah. The music just gets 20 times creepier in this specific portion, and this health level is really what I want to pay attention to. Notice that the items equipped disappear, because when you enter these rooms, the game likes to take away a good chunk of your items, so you have the one that is required to beat the boss, thankfully. And yeah. It makes me grin how effortless this is going to be once I approach this phase of the boss. With this Master Sword here, it's going to be effortless. Yep, it's just going to drop him down to maximum, or at least to minimum health. Yep, only 2 cycles is what it took. Though it was just almost the same as fighting a regular enemy. So with the Master Sword, a lot becomes easier. A lot becomes easier, and I really do wonder whose skull that is attached to the door. With that, though, we can proceed right ahead to the remake of the Forbidden Woods. Yep, we're all here. We're all here. You know, it's gonna be great. I really did not think that I would approach this area so soon in a matter of just months of doing this game. I really thought that it was gonna take a lot longer here. So, anyway, busting our take a leaf here and attract this platform back over to us. So, float on over, and then go back. Go back over and over again. And I really... Jesus, that jumping, though, was enough to make me confused. Yep, flying all over is not a problem these days. That is unless you are on the verge of running out of magic, which I'm about to do, so... Yeah, I think the Elixir Soup is going to make an appearance here for the first time, in my honest opinion. If it's not my first, then maybe my second or third. I do kind of lose count, which is like a pretty nasty habit of me, that is. Let's make our way on over here. And these pea-hats are really having a nasty habit as well, just of invading my space when it comes to just being in the vicinity. So, crack these nuts on open and have some extra magic for us, and we're gonna have some items taken from us once I pass up this door, and it's just... Ugh. Kalidamos is down. Next is the Earth Temple. Yep, we're halfway there. Halfway done to proceeding through the next door that awaits us. Let's make our way through, boys. The Earth Dungeon remake is not really that bad. It's just one constant corridor of just making our way down. And through this corridor is pretty much a remake of just having to deal with light puzzles, and it's not that bad. It really is not that bad, but going through here. We're just gonna awaken these guys, and we want to go back and make sure that we get one of the chew jellies that pretty much solidify when you provide light to them, and grab them on up. And I did predict that the Poe here was gonna knock some damage towards me, and these chew jellies will not take long to go back to their original self. We're just gonna make the staircase retract back to where it was. So you want to be quick with this area. That is. Yep, like I said. This one here, it's gonna be one last little spot. That is gonna play a trick on you, actually. It's gonna play a trick on you, and it is not a fun one either, so. Well, notice that, hey, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be freaking simple. No it won't. It will not, because the GameCube version and this version have a nasty habit of pulling this pun. Not a pun, but a gag, which kind of frustrates the player, sort of. Let's just say it involves the boomerang, the bombs, and the skull hammer right here. So, you think you're gonna make it the way up your stairs? You're not. You gotta deal with the Stalfos instead. The Stalfos is just standing in the way of all who try to pass. So, unless you're able to vanquish him before he assembles himself back to the Stalfos form, you're gonna be fine. Anyway, let's go back over there and put that choo-choo back on the switch, and proceed forward. There we go. Not a problem at all. See you later. Freaking giant choo-choos that are just standing in my way and preventing me from getting access to this boss's lair. That is going to prevent me from trying to defeat Ganondorf, which is going to be standing in my way once and for all. That is unless I'm able to kill him, that is. Anyway, Valhalla time. I did mention that the Hurricane Spin would make a giant difference in terms of just taking on a giant cluster of enemies that are going to get in the way, so it's pretty nice to have, in my honest opinion. Lastly, the Wind Temple. Let's go, boys. Oh, that Wizzrobe was just off in the distance, was he? Go ahead and take him out from afar, and we're gonna make our way right across. Making our way downtown, and pacing fast, and we're going fast and homebound. I will not sing that song again. I just keep telling myself that I'm not gonna do it, and I do it anyway because it's a nasty habit. It's a habit. I make myself a habit. Make it a habit of singing that song when I shouldn't be. And I want to be careful here because there's going to be some bokoblins coming out of these pots if I get too close, so I just really want to make sure that I stay out of their vicinity. Bust out your own little hookshot here, and be aware. Yeah, those guys were going to really prevent me from getting here with ease, so let's go on in. So with our way unveiled, we are going to proceed to the final steps of this entire quest. Filling up on hearts is pretty optimal if you want to just have full health on your way through, as well as magic and I guess a few extra rupees, which I really don't think that you're going to need at all, actually. So with that, let's go straight in. And he sneezed. He sneezed all over himself. That's pretty disgusting. Zill 2.0, perhaps? I will not compare Zill to a giant, like, horned mask just sticking out of the wall. And mini blends are not going to help at all these days, so just kind of get them on out of here. And you took a piece of my heart away. They stole my heart, pretty much. I do not have a crush on mini blends at all. I will not say that again. But here is where it'll kind of all fall into place. This area looks freaking amazing. There is an area to prove where you should go next. Pretty much if you go into this room and count the flames on the walls, like kind of corresponding to where the order of them is going to be in terms of just hitting them with the boomerang. So 3 and 4 right in that little spot. So LSP, you must remember well the appearance of this room. The shape of the floor, the number of items hanging on the walls. Such things are keys to solving the riddles that lie ahead. Do not overlook anything. Yeah, so keep that in mind. Going on over into this room, and thanks to those boss fights, our items were pretty much taken away from our equipped spots. So the same thing is going to happen here. So just remember the numbers of flames in the other room for this one. So this would mean that in this specific order that 31 is 42. So if I'm correctly speaking, 31 plus 11 is 42, which means that Link is 11. Am I saying that right? I may just be exaggerating, but notice how the boss icons are all over the walls here as well, so that is pretty nice. I see. So this is the portal through which Ganon was able to seep into the unsuspecting world above. LSP, we shall make use of this path that Ganon created for himself. If there's anything from the world above that you believe you need, then climb into the boat and enter the column of darkness. The funny thing about that is, once you step foot into that portal, the hilarious thing to me and the most useful thing that will provide to us is the fact that this will take us all the way back to the Forsaken Fortress. And I think the idea of Nintendo just providing the player away from the very last area of the game all the way up to the very first mission that you commenced in the plot at all is just perfect. Notice how Valoo in our last visit here pretty much just burned this place to hell, and there is no other way back up here unless you're able to do a glitch in the GameCube version called, and this version as well, called zombie hovering. It basically means that you can fly while you're dead. It's like doing jump attacks in midair and accessing areas that you're not supposed to, pretty much. If you're able to do it, you can maybe just re-access where you face the final boss. And notice how the music here is just not playing at all. So if I actually make it daytime, which is pretty funny that I can still do in this area, something happens. The music plays. Yep. I don't know why it doesn't do it at night. I think because at night is when I pretty much made this place the end, pretty much. Which is when I killed Helmarok King, that is. Anyway, with all that said and done, I'm gonna go ahead and climb straight back into the King of Red Lions and go back to where we once came. Okay, so exiting that room, we can climb straight, well not climb, but go into this room pretty much, and notice that if there's anything that anybody should know about me, I was in ROTC class, which means that I studied numbers and numbers and numbers of parts of weapons and all that sort of good, just in preparation for this. You really don't need to be a genius for this, but I studied the parts of swords, knives, rifles, and everything else. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. It was a fun time. It was also pretty beneficial to me. If you read the stone, it says, "The sword hilts of my servants who lurk deep in the darkness shall be the guideposts that point to me." If you don't know what the hilt of the sword is, it is the handle, not the blade. I will reiterate when I go back into this spot right here, so jump on in. Yep. These are reiterations of Phantom Ganon, so if you're courageous enough to fight this guy again, go for it. And he has a new attack here, so pretty much just make sure that he does that. And re-attack. Okay, so I've seen an abundance of people on YouTube make this mistake. They always go in the direction that the blade is pointing. Not this way, this way. The part that hits the ground is the handle, which means that you should go into this door. Yep. I think enough is said there. And I totally messed that up as well. I really should not have, but he's gonna do it again just to make sure that you get an extra chance. Hit everything back at him. So doing that when you have the Hurricane Spin obtained is kind of hard to time up because you have to make sure that you don't spin attack with the Hurricane Spin at that time. So yep, keep repeating that process until you come to this room, which is kind of colorized pretty differently. You already know that it's the last one. Yep, he's gonna do his attack one last time and hit everything back at him. And that, we are done with that part. We have the light arrow. When you take out your bow, use ZR to change arrowheads and fire away. Yep, the fact that we have all three arrow types now pretty much proves that we're on our way to the final area. Yay. So, everybody at this point kind of like forgets the fact that they have the light arrow and they still like pretty much attempt to do this fight all over again. Yeah, it pretty much is a clear indication that you should use the light arrow on him, so say goodbye. The funny thing is that he leaves his sword behind, which means that people make the indication that, oh, I should go back into this room. No. You can try shooting this specific area that people forget that exists with the light arrow, but it actually does not work. You pretty much want to try everything at this point. So, if you think that shooting it with the light arrow will work, try it, but you really just want to throw your sword at it. So, hit it, throw it at it, it really doesn't matter. As long as you have the sword make contact with that part and open up the way, you're going to be just fine. Alright, This area is an indication that you should pretty much defeat every enemy in this corridor. It is a large series of staircases, which is pretty much just, yeah, it's a lot of walking. Make sure you just clobber these guys on out of the way, and you really don't have to fight them at all. Pretty much if enemies burst into a blot of light like that, it pretty much means that they're evil. They're evil and they should not exist. Rupees that I don't need, which is pretty great. But what are you going to do? Moblins are really not that hard anymore, so anything is easier with the light arrow. It's just great. Make sure all this fire is out of the way, and I really don't need to fight these guys anymore. It's just awesome. And I think here is where I'm going to take the photo of the, let's wait for it, the Mighty Dark Nut that has a cape. So we have one last figurine to get, and we are on our way to victory, boys. If you really want a fairy, go for it, but I really don't see any reason to have one if you have full health and have your hearts maxed out pretty much. But anyway, we have a fairy, and we are good to go. Let's make sure we have our bow back on out, because we're pretty much going to need that in that era. Get some magic, and we have the final area to go. Let's go for it. Do you sleep still? Wait. Do not be so hasty, boy. I can see this girl's dreams. You freaking creep. Oceans. 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 Oceans, as far as the eye can see. They are vast seas. None can swim across them. They yield no fish to catch. What did the king of Hyrule say? That the gods sealed Hyrule away? And they left behind people who would one day awaken Hyrule. How ridiculous. So many pathetic creatures, scattered across a handful of islands, drifting on this sea like fallen leaves on a forgotten pool. What can they possibly hope to achieve? Don't you see? All of you. Your gods destroyed you. I have been waiting for you, boy. For one like you. Yes, for the hero. Do not betray my expectations. That is the final picture that we're going to take in the game. Make sure you have it. This is Puppet Ganon. He is pretty feisty. Make sure that you have your boomerang out. There is a way to hit his tail with the light arrow while it's bouncing around in midair, which I think is almost impossible for me to do. It's a pretty useful speedrun tactic, but honestly, I cannot even do it with my skill level when it comes to speedrunning this game, so, yeah, that's one downside for me. first phase down. And if you're able to do that consecutively, then you have a pretty decent skill level for Puppet Ganon, so just make sure that you're able to do it, and you should be fine. And the fact that the victory music just kind of changes up in this specific fight is just genius, honestly. Spider form is honestly not that hard. It is also possible to hit the light ball as his tail while it's in midair before he lands, so just make sure that you just do that. And yeah, when he lands is pretty much the easiest time to hit him, so you have nothing that bad coming your way in this phase in particular. And there you go. It is not that bad at all. It's not bad. Just make sure that you just stay in your spot and do what you have to do. And this is the phase that honestly gets on my last nerve sometimes. If you're able to spin attack the face, then you're going to have like an 80% chance easier time with this phase. So, yeah. Try to do that. Yes, surely you are the hero of time, reborn. Your time has come. Come now. Stand before me. So, yep. This is going to be a wrap for this episode. We have one more major episode, and that is going to be commencing the very end of The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD. In the next episode, specifically, is when we're going to pretty much show every last figurine that we obtained. That we have obtained, that is. I just realized in the reflection of the water, when you have the hero's charm on, it basically shows Link without the mask on, is what I just realized. It's a really bizarre thing. Maybe it's like a developing error, but hey, nothing too much to worry about. With that, stay tuned. Subscribe, like, comment, or anything else. And peace out, everyone.